Hello, and welcome back to the channel. It's your host Manhwa Legends, ready to dive into another masterpiece. Today we're exploring a unique story. It's a manhwa recap about Kim Jio, a man cursed with an undying heart, but broken by endless torture. Let's jump straight into the abyss. Born into darkness, this man spent 10 years in a subterranean hell. Every single day was a cycle of agonizing experiments that pulverized his very bones and tore his muscles apart. Yet death refused to claim him. Possessing the legendary Immortal Heart, his body reconstructed itself, endlessly trapping him in an infinite loop of suffering. The cost of this power, he was reduced to a skeletal wraith, the pain amplifying with every regeneration. But no matter the agony, he had to escape this leveling manhwa nightmare. Jio swore he wouldn't be caged like an animal. Desperation took over as he grabbed two live wires, slamming them together. A massive bolt of lightning tore through the room. Electricity surged through him, dragging his captors into the high-voltage current. He gritted his teeth, telling himself, "I'd rather die free than live as a lab rat." It was a calculated gamble. His resurrection ability, the core of this system manhwa, would bring him back. He transformed into a charred walking corpse, a true defiance of nature. In this world, rare individuals possess variant hearts. It's a staple of the awakening manhwa genre, granting superhuman abilities to a lucky few known as mutants. Society worships them, calling these powers divine blessings. Jio, digging through a trash can, let out a bitter laugh. Blessings? Yeah. Right, it was a sick joke. His blessing had turned him into a monster. Scavenging through the filth, his only goal now was basic survival. I need food. Starvation was driving him to the brink of madness. Finally, he struck gold, a discarded piece of bread. He devoured it instantly. To him, the stale crust was a feast. But he froze. A stray dog sat nearby, tail wagging, eyes pleading. Jio sighed, his humanity surfacing. "You're hungry too, huh? Want some?" He offered the rest to the pup. "Good boy." He smiled gently. Suddenly the silence shattered. Shouting, commotion. Someone was in trouble nearby. Jio's instincts kicked in. Was it the lab pursuers? He peeked out from the alley and saw a group of thugs cornering a helpless girl. "Come on, babe, just hang out with us," the punk sneered. Jio analyzed the threat. Not scientists, just street trash harassing a civilian. She cried out, trembling. "I'm still in high school." But the predators didn't care. High schoolers know how to have fun these days. Quit playing hard to get, it's annoying. Jio's gaze drifted to the bag she dropped. Dog food. She was feeding strays. He stepped out from the shadows. "Excuse me." His voice was low and gravelly. "Can we stop this?" The gang turned, confused by the interruption. "Who's this bum, a beggar?" Jio lowered his hood, eyes glowing with menace. "I am no beggar." His skeletal burnt visage was revealed in the light. "What the hell?" The blonde thug panicked, shoving Jio. Unfazed, Jio raised his metal pipe. His voice was cold steel. "Too loud. Get lost." Terrified by his demonic appearance, the thugs screamed, "It's a ghost," and fled for their lives. The girl Hiji collapsed in terror, face pale. "Thank you." But looking up, she saw a monster. "Stay back. Don't come near me. Don't eat me." But her scream died in her throat. The monster wasn't attacking. He was on his knees, frantically eating the spilled dog food off the pavement. Hiji blinked, her brain short-circuiting. "Huh," she called out uncertainly. That's dog food." Jio realized his mistake and froze. "Ah, sorry. Did I scare you? My bad. Mind if I finish this?" Hiji's fear spiked again. This behavior was too erratic. She scrambled up and bolted without a word. Jio watched her go, still chewing. She ran, expected. He shrugged to himself. "At least I can eat in peace now. No complaints." Hiji hid behind a pole, watching him from a distance. What is he? Is he even human? He looked like a walking corpse, yet he moved and spoke. Then it clicked. "Wait. Don't tell me." She realized he was an Awakener. A variant heart. He saved me, and I treated him like a monster. Guilt washed over her. She approached him trembling and held out a bag. "I'm sorry. If you're hungry, please take this. It's a Subway sandwich." Jio's eyes widened in disbelief. "You're giving this to me?" Hiji forced a smile, trying to be brave. "Yeah. Sorry for running away earlier." He reached out tentatively. "No, it's fine. Thank you." Holding the warm bag, a strange feeling bloomed in his chest, the first kindness he'd felt in years. "I've only ever seen these wrappers in the garbage." He took a bite and his world exploded with color. Tears welled in his eyes. This is the flavor of heaven. Fresh vegetables, savory meat, soft bread. It was overwhelming. I could die right now with no regrets. To Jio, she was an angel sent from above. Hiji broke the silence softly. "Mr. Skeleton, may I ask your name?" "I am Kim Jio." She bowed politely. "Nice to meet you, Jio. I'm Song Hiji." She hesitated, curiosity winning out. Why, are you out here like this? Jio answered plainly. I'm escaping. There's a lab looking for me. Hiji gasped. A laboratory. You're a fugitive. Jio nodded, staring at the ground. They hunt variant hearts. They want to drag me back to that hell. She covered her mouth in shock. I've heard rumors about illegal testing, but it's real. What did they plan to do to you? Jio's eyes darkened with traumatic memories. Let's see. For 10 years I was their favorite toy, their guinea pig. They pumped me with poison to test new drugs. They carved out my organs just to check compatibility. Hiji went pale. 10 years of torture. Yes, because I have the resurrection heart. No matter how much they butchered me, I always healed. He hung his head in shame. That's why I look like this monster. Silence fell. Hiji looked at his slumped shoulders. Suddenly she stood up with determination. I don't care. Come with me. She grabbed his hand. Jio was stunned, being dragged along. Wait. Where are we going? Hiji pulled him along. Just trust me. Jio's mind raced. She's touching me. A girl is actually holding my hand. But then snap. Hiji screamed in horror, holding a severed hand. Oh my god, your hand, it fell off. Jio just waved his stump casually. Oops. Don't worry, that happens sometimes. He calmly clicked the bone back into place. As long as the alignment was correct, it would fuse on its own. Song Hiji clutched her head, sighing with relief. Thank goodness. Then she asked, so where exactly are you planning to take me? She hummed with uncertainty. A moment later, Jio stood there looking awkward in his new threads. Song Hiji held the shopping bags, explaining, your old gear was too worn out. You would attract too much attention. If you wear a wig and normal clothes, people won't stare as much. They are cheap, but it is better than nothing. Jio, however, was beaming with pure delight. No, not at all. I love it. He pulled the jacket on, trembling. It feels so warm. Like I have grown a new layer of skin. These clothes are the greatest treasure I have ever held. Song Hiji stepped closer again. Hold on, we aren't done yet. He stepped back, flustered. She laughed lightly. Your face is still too exposed. And since you don't have ears, a mask won't stay on. I will use makeup to blend you in. Minutes later, she finished painting Jio's skeletal face. She grabbed her head in defeat. I am so sorry. I have never put makeup on a skeleton before. It looks terrible. Jio slumped in shame. No, it is beautiful. She felt a pang of guilt. There wasn't even a mirror for him to see the mess. At least those dangerous guys won't recognize you now. Silence stretched between them. Song Hiji didn't hear a response, so she peeked through her fingers. Suddenly she shrieked, checking the time. Ah, I am late. I have to get to cram school. She scrambled away. It was nice meeting you. I have to go. Jio stood there, stunned. Oh, okay. Song Hiji turned back with a gentle reminder. Take care of the puppies, okay? Watching her retreating figure, he etched her name into his soul, Song Hiji. Lying down to rest, the realization hit Jio. Take care of the dogs. That means she is coming back tomorrow. In the lab, he was less than garbage, a monster that made people scream. She is the first person to treat me like a human being. He happily patted the puppy beside him. It is all thanks to you, little guy. If I hadn't followed you out, I never would have met Song Hiji. Thank you. The puppy licked his face enthusiastically. Jio pondered. What should I name you? How about Potato? Is Potato? Good. Potato barked in agreement. You like it? Jio looked up at the sky, whispering, Potato, that Subway sandwich was really delicious. Song Hiji brought me clothes and actually talked to me. She really is an angel. I can't wait for tomorrow. If I stay here, I can see her again. The thought froze him. Jio bolted upright, terror gripping his heart. What am I thinking? I am being hunted. Am I planning to put Song Hiji, my savior, in danger? He scrambled to his feet. Running away is the only choice. I need to go where trash belongs. Night fell, and Jio walked alone into the darkness. The next morning, deep in the sewers. This was the grim reality of a leveling Manhwa survival arc. Jio woke up groggily, curled under his jacket next to a pile of refuse. He jumped up, screaming in panic. What was that, A-rat? He realized with embarrassment that he had fainted while walking. I can't just pass out in a place like this. He tried to stay positive. I knew this would happen, so I brought dog food. He started munching. If I imagine it while I eat, it will taste just like that Subway sandwich. Green kibble is lettuce, yellow is bread, brown is meat. Yes, it tastes exactly like Subway. Suddenly a shadow moved. Potato swooped in and snatched the kibble from his hand. Jio screamed in despair. My Subway, he wailed. Potato, why would you steal my food? Then reality snapped back. He froze. Wait, Potato, Jio asked, confused. How did you get here? Don't tell me. If Potato is here. Song Hiji's voice echoed from the shadows. She stepped forward, looking annoyed. Don't just disappear without saying a word like that. I almost didn't find you. Jio was too stunned to speak, his internal monologue cut short by the sheer brightness of her presence. Song Hee-ji complained, dusting herself off. I spent the whole day looking for you. The dogs tracked your scent. That is the only reason I found this place. She glared at him. I had to walk around for hours. Jio hung his head, whispering, I am sorry. Song Hee-ji sighed, her anger fading into worry. You said wandering around in your condition was dangerous. He stammered. If we stay close. I was afraid I would become a burden to you. Song Hee-ji ignored the self-pity and smiled warmly. Well, I am just glad I found you. This little guy was worried sick about you too. Potato rushed forward, licking Jio's cheek. Emotion choked him. Potato. Song Hee-ji set down a feast of convenience store snacks. Eat this first. She rummaged through her bag. Yesterday, you only had that Subway. That is not a proper meal. I bought some stuff on the way. She poured fresh milk into a container of cookies. Try this. Jio screamed, scandalized. Huh. What is this dark magic soaking cookies in milk? She laughed. Trust me, it is delicious this way. Jio eyed the soggy cookies with deep suspicion. What is this mush? The sandwich yesterday was perfect. But he scooped up a spoon, wondering what kind of culinary disaster awaited him. Boom. A flavor explosion rocked his entire skeletal system. He wept openly. It is so good I am crying. It is delicious. My brain feels like it is melting from the sweetness. Miss Song Hee-ji, you have to try this. Song Hee-ji giggled behind her hand. Your expressions are so funny. Okay, try the cola next. Suddenly the bone in Jio's arm began to knit together. He gasped happily. My bones, they are regenerating. Song Hee-ji leaned in, shocked. Really, where? She focused on the small bone fragment reforming. Does it usually heal bit by bit like this? Won't it take days to fully recover? Jio shook his head instantly. Oh no, it would take years at this rate. Song Hee-ji's jaw dropped. Years? Jio answered innocently. Yeah, because I need to eat. She frowned, confused. Just eat. Is there no other way? I just need to absorb a massive amount of blood essence, he thought. But that belongs in a horror story, not here. He smiled. That method only worked in the lab. Right now, food is enough. Song Hee-ji pressed on, sensing the darkness in his past. The lab. They could heal you instantly. Jio replied calmly. Yes, because they needed to experiment on me continuously. He looked down at his hands. That is why they chase me. No matter where I hide. Song Hee-ji realized the truth. Don't tell me that is why you left without saying goodbye. Jio admitted it. If you stay near me, you will be in danger. You don't need to be kind to a monster. Song Hee-ji shouted. Then let's go to the police station. Jio slumped, defeated. Even if I go to the police, they will see a monster. They will just shoot me. She grabbed his shoulders, eyes burning with determination. Don't worry. Actually, my big sister is a police officer. Heejin lowered her voice to reveal the truth, her eyes scanning his face. I am a variant heart, just like you. Kim Jio gasped, his shock palpable. Your sister. She's a variant heart too. Heejin nodded firmly. That's right. Hesitation still clouded Kim Jio features. Sensing his turmoil, Heejin sat beside him, her smile radiant and disarming. Trust me just this once. My sister has a heart of gold. Her warmth melted his icy defenses, bringing him to a standstill. She crouched down to bid farewell to the pack of stray dogs. I'm heading home early today, guys. Play nice, all right. Be good boys. The rescue center will be here for you soon. Potato sat there, tail wagging with pure joy. Once Heejin left, Kim Jio stroked the dog's head with gentle affection. You saved me again, didn't you? Thank you, Potato. A new resolve hardened in his eyes. I'm done running away like a coward. I'll come back for you. Kim Jio turned to follow Heejin. For the first time in 3 years of living in the shadows, someone had finally extended a hand to pull him into the light. The warmth of being helped felt alien yet intoxicating. A dangerous hope took root in his chest. Could he truly live a life without looking over his shoulder? Just as freedom seemed within reach, fate played a cruel joke. Headlights blinded him. A car roared out of nowhere. Heejin froze in horror as metal slammed into flesh. Kim Jio was launched backward, his head cracking against the unforgiving asphalt. Hey, Kim Jio. Heejin's scream tore through the air. But before she could move, a bald thug snatched her barking orders. Grab that trash before we attract an audience. Men armed with steel pipes poured out of black sedans like a swarm of insects. They pounced on Kim Jio's broken body. The flicker of a lighter cut the darkness. Smoke curled from the leader's lips as he sneered. Found you at last, you worthless skeletal trash. He signaled his goons with a wave of his hand. Drag him. He's going to pay in blood for the mess he caused. The convoy of black cars began to roll, sealing his doom. Kim Jio was bound like livestock, a rope around his neck, dragging him behind the vehicle. His skin was flayed by the rough asphalt, his screams lost in the roar of the engines. Despair crushed his spirit as he cursed his weakness. Damn it all. He clawed at the ground, desperate to anchor himself to stop this nightmare. It's all my fault. Because of me, Hee-jin is... His fingernails tore from their beds, leaving long streaks of crimson on the road. Yet the car showed no mercy, dragging him into the abyss. Rage boiled beneath his pain. This trash ability. I'm powerless. Someone, anyone, please. Suddenly, a chorus of barks erupted. The pack of strays chased the convoy, tearing at the rope binding Kim Jio's neck. Kim Jio's eyes widened in disbelief. You guys... Their feral loyalty had brought the death ride to a halt. Snap. The rope severed. The drivers slammed on their brakes, realizing their cargo was loose. As the cars whipped around, the dogs stood their ground, a barrier of fangs and fury. The thugs spilled out, faces twisted in annoyance. What the hell is this? The leader rested a steel bat on his shoulder, his aura menacing. Do these mutts have a death wish? Fearless, the pack didn't back down. Kim Jio watched, paralyzed by weakness. No run. But steel met fur. The thugs swung their bats with brutal efficiency. Where do you think you're going, huh? Kim Jio struggled to rise, his body screaming in protest. I have to stand. They're fighting for me. Suddenly, Potato launched himself, sinking his teeth deep into a thug's thigh. Kim Jio trembled as the realization hit him. Like the interface of a system Manhwa booting up, he finally understood. Right. Blood. He needed to absorb the essence spilling from the wounds. It's not much, but it might be enough to trigger a recovery. He forced his broken limbs to move. Just reach the blood. The thug howled in pain as crimson spray painted the air, but a brutal swing sent Potato flying. Please, Kim Jio gasped, crawling through the dust. Just a little more recovery. But when he reached his savior, Potato lay motionless in a pool of his own blood. Time froze. A silent scream tore his throat. Potato. He looked around. Silence had fallen. The entire pack lay still. The spark of life had been extinguished from them all. Kim Jio's gaze drifted over their broken bodies, whispering their names like a prayer. Kong, Diogu, Iluk, Huang. His eyes bulged, veins popping. 10 years. The trauma of the laboratory flooded back, a decade of hell. Waking up to torture, daily injections of filtered organ blood, an endless cycle of agony. I couldn't even die when I wanted to. He had escaped that living hell, a miracle of fate. I thought freedom meant happiness. But the outside world was just another cage. People spat on him, looking at him not as a man, but as a monster. Yet his crimson heart still beat. Kim Jio realized he was only alive because of them, the dogs and Hee-jin. The only ones who looked at him and saw a human being. Kim Jio braced himself and exploded upward. He pulled. Every drop of spilled blood in the vicinity answered his call, rushing toward him to fuel his regeneration. The crimson liquid swirled into a violent tornado, enveloping him. Shattered bone knit together. Flesh reformed. His severed feet and mangled hands regenerated in seconds, sculpted by the blood. As the blood vortex dissipated, a perfect human form stood in its wake. The skeletal disfigurement was gone. Kim Jio's face was restored. He was reborn. My body... Kim Jio stared at his hands, trembling not from fear but power. He felt the pulse of the blood thrumming. It felt like the old days when he had the strength to spin a heavy tire with ease. A horrifying realization dawned on him. He hadn't just healed. He had absorbed the very life essence of the dogs. The thugs watched their arrogance replaced by primal fear. What is that thing? He completely healed. Boss, what do we do? The leader, teeth gritted, charged at Kim Jio's exposed back. Shut up and kill him. He's just one freak. But before the bat could land, Kim Jio turned. Bam. A single unconscious backhand strike sent the boss flying. The impact was so great it crumpled the front of a car behind them. The thug's head was embedded in the vehicle's chassis. Kim Jio ignored him, dropping to his knees to cradle Potato's lifeless body, grief pouring off him in waves. I know 1,000 ways to die. Kim Jio's voice was the chill of the grave. He looked up, his killing intent suffocating. Only the first one to speak lives. The rest die. The thugs froze, paralyzed by fear. His eyes were pools of abyssal darkness. Where did you take Hee-jin? Night had fallen over the city. At a desolate, abandoned factory, a fleet of luxury cars gathered in the shadows. Inside, a burlap sack was ripped from a captive's head. Hee-jin blinked against the harsh light, her voice trembling. Who are you people? Panic warred with confusion in her eyes. Surrounded by rough-looking men, her expression darkened. She fought to keep the terror out of her voice. Where am I? She glanced around and gasped. Not far away lay a pile of unmoving bodies. Suddenly, a hand yanked her hair back violently. This bitch is too loud. He tightened his grip, ignoring her wince of pain. You think you have extra lives to spare? He shoved a photo of Kim Jio into her face. If you want to blame someone, blame that skeletal trash. You're in this hellhole because you decided to play hero for him. The thug's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. Now shut your mouth unless you want to join the pile. His eyes were void of humanity. In this world, nobody gives a damn if 1 or 2 insects like you disappear. His words drained the blood from Heejin's face. Ring. The sudden sound broke the tension. The thug stood up annoyed. What now? He listened, his brow furrowing. Why are you calling? I told you to drag his corpse here. Where is that bone bag hiding? The confused thug demanded, asking for the second time. Huh. And what is this nonsense about wild dogs? That bag of bones transformed into a human? The boss lost his cool barking orders into his phone. What the hell are you babbling about? Speak clearly, so I can understand you. What dogs? Song Hee-ji caught fragments of the conversation, anxiety bubbling in her chest. Dogs, does he mean a rescue team? She tried to piece the puzzle together. Are you telling me you let the skeleton subject escape? He roared into the receiver, veins popping with rage. You useless piece of trash. Do you have any idea how much that brat is worth? He smashed the phone onto the ground in a fit of fury. Brainless morons. If you do not bring him back, do not bother coming back alive. The thug immediately spun around, seizing Song Hee-ji by the collar. You know where that bone freak is, don't you? Talk if you value your life. He screamed right in her face, spitting venom. Start talking, you mutt. Do you realize how much money just walked out the door? My money. Song Hee-ji struggled to find her voice. I don't know anything, she stammered. Oh, of course you don't. The thug sneered, his demeanor shifting instantly into something far more sinister. Let's see if poking a few extra breathing holes in you jogs your memory. As the weapon flashed before her eyes, Song Hee-ji trembled uncontrollably. Jio told me he was being hunted, but I was too foolish to listen. Terror clawed at her throat. What do I do? Suddenly a blur of motion tore through the room, and a body went flying, crashing into the distance. The sudden violence froze everyone in their tracks. All eyes turned to the silhouette standing ominously in the doorway. The boss squinted, suspicion clouding his gaze. Who the hell is that? Another thug stepped up, puffing his chest. Hey, who are you supposed to be? Some homeless beggar. But before he could finish his insult, a hand clamped around him like a vice. The thug choked, his words cut short by overwhelming pressure. You, what kind of monster strength is this? Jio's voice was ice cold. Because of trash, like you. He casually increased his grip, crushing the man's windpipe. The other gang members panicked. Don't just stand there. Get him! A heavy fist slammed into Jio's jaw. He calmly spat out a mouthful of blood, unfazed, before returning the favor with a devastating punch of his own. He followed up with a brutal elbow strike that shattered bone. Suddenly, a thug grabbed him from behind. I got him! Now! Another attacker rushed in with a flying knee, yet Jio's expression remained terrifyingly placid. He slipped out of their encirclement like a phantom, leaving the boss and his lackeys with their jaws on the floor. A dark aura surrounded him as he addressed the mob. You lot. His eyes burned with murderous intent. Did the laboratory send you? Song Hee-ji watched in awe, feeling like she was witnessing a live manhwa recap. It can't be. She stared at his transformed appearance in disbelief. Jio. The gang leader, however, grinned maniacally. So what if it is? That is the skeleton subject, the boss realized with glee. The smugglers warned us he might be unrecognizable after recovering. They were not kidding. The thug laughed twistedly. Thanks for saving us the trouble. He raised his gun, aiming directly at Jio. You walked right into the trap. He barked orders to his subordinates. Bring out the heavy artillery, every gun we have. In seconds, the room bristled with the cold steel of firearms. Light him up. They unleashed a hail of lead, eager for the bounty. If we catch this freak, we are set for life. Do not stop shooting. Jio stood motionless against the barrage. Turn him into Swiss cheese so he can't regenerate. Bullet after bullet tore into his flesh. Don't stop. His mind screamed a single thought. It hurts. He felt every impact, flesh tearing and skin ripping apart. It wasn't just the surface. He could feel his very bones shattering under the relentless assault. His strength faded. His lungs were perforated. Air refused to fill his chest. I can't breathe, Song Hee-ji screamed in pure agony, watching him be destroyed. Stop it, please! Finally, Jio collapsed to the floor. The bastard is down, the boss sneered. Jio lay in a growing pool of crimson, a tragic sight of defeat. But then something stirred in the darkness. His fingers twitched, grasping at the pool of blood. The crimson liquid defied gravity, swirling around his hand and absorbing back into his skin. Thump, thump. A powerful heartbeat echoed like a war drum. Boss! A scar-faced thug screamed. The entire room froze in horror. He's coming back to life. Even the leader felt a chill crawl down his spine. He rose from the ground like an undead nightmare, his body greedily drinking in the blood to stitch itself back together. Panic erupted among the gangsters. "What are you staring at? Kill him!" They opened fire again, but this time Jio analyzed every sensation of the metal piercing his skin. A second round, then a third. A hail of bullets targeted his skull. Yet his eyes remained open, staring coldly at the projectiles, completely devoid of fear. The bullets didn't just penetrate, they shredded him. Yet amidst the carnage, Jio felt a strange clarity, aware of every single cell in his body screaming. His body knit itself together instantly. Strange. It doesn't hurt as much as I expected. Perhaps it was because he had endured far worse in the hell of his past. He remembered the experiments that went beyond human limits. Those days of torture had numbed his soul. Compared to the lab, being shot was merely a tickle. Snap back to reality. A fist like a cannonball connected with Scarface. Knockout instant. Jio stood over him, radiating the aura of an apex predator. "Is this the best you have?" Jio declared, his voice booming. "I can eat bullets for breakfast all day long." A thug shrieked. He just punched him into the ceiling. One tried to block, but Jio shattered his arm like a dry twig. The rage boiling inside him made it impossible to hold back his monstrous strength. Another body went flying across the room. He was furious not for himself, but because these filth dared to touch the person who tried to protect him. He unleashed hell on them. Memories of his helplessness flashed in his mind, fueling his resolve. He would never be that weak again. Suddenly, the boss's desperate scream cut through the violence. "Stay back!" the leader roared, though his gun hand trembled violently against Song Heeji's temple. One step closer, and the girl dies. Jio's eyes narrowed into slits of pure fury. His expression darkened. In that moment, Jio swore a silent oath he would scrub this filth from the face of the earth so they could never harm anyone again. In a blink, the boss was launched across the room, smashing into a decorative vase. His face was reduced to a bloody pulp. It took him a moment to even realize he was still alive. A shadow loomed over him. "Please," the boss whimpered finally, understanding true fear. "I'll do anything you want." But Jio raised his fist, cold and unforgiving. "It is far too late for begging." The thug coughed up a fountain of blood, but before he could take another breath, Jio's fist descended for the final judgment. Then Jio unleashed a storm of fury upon the man, his fists flying faster than the eye could follow. Moments later, the thug's face was swollen beyond recognition, looking more like a pig's head than a human's. Jio stood silently staring down at his defeated opponent. His hands were stained crimson with fresh blood. He gently pulled away, leaving a scene of absolute devastation. Thugs lay scattered everywhere, a testament to this action manhwa brawl. The killing intent from the battle still radiated off Jio, suffocating the air. Heeji, sensing his trance, called out nervously. "Jio!" Hearing her voice, the beast within him finally began to settle. His feet instinctively turned toward Heeji. He dragged himself toward her, one heavy step at a time. Heeji, trembling with fear, stammered out, Are you really okay? You were shot so many times." Before she could finish, Jio collapsed to his knees and pulled her into a desperate embrace. "Thank God." Tears welled up in his eyes as his voice cracked with emotion. "You're still alive." He trembled as he spoke. "The dogs that saved me, they're all gone. I was so terrified that I had lost you too. Only now do I finally feel like I can breathe." The relief washed over him. Heeji listened to his trembling words, her eyes darkening with guilt. "But I didn't do anything." She gently placed her hand on his back, returning the hug with all her heart. "I'm the one who should be thanking you." Suddenly, the wail of sirens pierced the air. The police had arrived. Move it, secure the suspect now." The main thug was pinned down instantly by the authorities. The remnants of the gang found themselves trapped with no way to escape. Officers scanned the scene, gathering evidence. "This looks like an internal gang war gone wrong. But seriously, you think mere infighting caused this level of destruction?" Meanwhile, Heeji and Jio crouched in the shadows outside the warehouse, listening intently. Heeji whispered, a hint of relief in her voice. "It looks like they're taking them all away." Jio frowned, worry etched on his face. "Won't we get in trouble if we aren't investigated?" Heeji stayed calm. "My sister warned us to stay away. If the authorities find out about the mutant heart, this awakening manhwa plot gets complicated." She tried to reassure him. "She said she'd handle the cleanup, so we need to move. Now." Without looking back, the two turned and vanished into the depths of the forest. Once they were safe, the adrenaline faded, replaced by crushing grief. Heeji sobbed uncontrollably, and even Jio buried his face in his hands, consumed by torment. They knelt before the cold, motionless bodies of the pack on the freezing ground. "I'm so sorry," Jio whispered, his voice shaking as he called out their names in agony. "Badu Siru Dengu Chokobon Maru." Tears streamed down Song Heeji's face. She could do nothing but blame herself. "It's all my fault. They only ran out there to save me." Heeji gently cradled Potato in her arms, holding him tight for a final farewell. "I couldn't even take responsibility for them. I gave them warmth and food for just a fleeting moment, and yet they risked their lives for me. Jio couldn't bear to watch Hiji tear herself apart. He bit down hard on his own finger, sinking his teeth in until blood flowed freely. No, it's not your fault, Hiji. They died to give me their blood. Seeing Jio self-harm, Hiji panicked, her sorrow turning to alarm. Jio, what are you doing? It was a desperate gamble, but Jio had to try. I can recover when I absorb blood, right? If my blood is special. Maybe I can use it to revive them like a system Manhwa skill. Blood dripped from his finger like rain, but the world was cruel. Instead of healing the dogs, the wound Jio inflicted on himself closed up in seconds. Seeing his rapid regeneration only made him snap. He bit his finger again frantically this time. Damn it, why am I healing so fast? Blood sprayed from his fingertips. Hiji, terrified by his mental state, rushed to stop him. Stop it. You're making them even sadder. Jio paused, confused by her logic. Sadder. They died because of me. Shouldn't they hate me? Hiji choked back her tears to comfort him. Hate you. You know how much they loved you. Jio's shoulders slumped, his voice dropping to a whisper. I know. Song Hiji words painted a picture of the past, bringing the memories of the pack back to life. They were usually so wary of humans, but they liked you so much. Jio looked down, absorbing every word. Wary of humans? Hiji nodded, pouring out the painful truth. Yes. Their bodies were covered in scars from abuse. They must have had terrible memories of people. Jio gently stroked Potato's cold face, his heart breaking. I had no idea. I just thought they were friendly. Hiji squeezed his hand. That's why, if you hurt yourself and blame yourself, it would break their hearts. Jio sat in silence, petting the small dog as the truth sank in. Song Hiji's eyes softened with empathy. The truth is, they approached you without hesitation. Her words acted like a mirror to his soul. That means they sensed it. They knew you had been through the same hell they had. The knot in Jio's heart finally began to loosen. Thank you. Suddenly a weak bark echoed through the silence. Hiji gasped in shock. It was a puppy Potato's child. I was so worried when I couldn't find you. Thank goodness you're alive. The tiny puppy stumbled toward Jio, leaving both of them stunned. Jio's eyes went wide. Huh. The puppy sat obediently in front of him, its little tail wagging with pure joy. Hiji smiled through her tears. Is he looking at you? Jio leaned down, his voice trembling. You don't hate me. Because of me, your mom and friends are gone. Ignoring the tragedy, the puppy licked his hand, a gesture of absolute trust. Jio collapsed to the ground, pulling the pup into his chest. This little one. Hiji cut in, her voice warm. I think he likes you. Before Jio could even process the moment, the puppy fell asleep in his arms. He's asleep. He must be exhausted. But unlike Jio, Hiji seemed troubled by a new thought. What do we do? We can't leave a newborn here. Should we take him? She watched Jio's awkward gentleness with the pup and felt a wave of uncertainty. But what about Jio? Those lab guys aren't just normal villains. This is a dangerous situation worthy of a Manhwa recap thriller. Hiji couldn't make the decision alone. Wait here, I need to call my sister. Jio, still dazed, just nodded. Okay. Hiji spoke urgently into the phone. Sis, I handled it like you said. Where do we go now? While she talked, Jio sat silently, guarding the sleeping life in his arms. After getting instructions, Hiji returned. That sounds better. Got it. Talk later. Decisions made, they took the puppy and left the forest behind. As the curtain of night fell, they arrived at a safe house. Jio stepped inside slowly. A house. Seeing his hesitation, Hiji smiled warmly. Come on in. Make yourself at home. Jio looked around, then looked at her, needing permission. Can I really come in, a dangerous monster like me? Song Hiji's bright smile washed away the tension. You risked your life to save me. How could you possibly be dangerous to my family? Hiji realized something important. Oh right. My older sister said she wants to meet you too. Jio blinked, completely caught off guard. Me, Hiji replied with absolute certainty. Yeah, she's investigating a major case right now. She thinks you might hold the key since it involves that twisted research lab hunting you down. She continued, trying to convince him to enter the safety of her home. It'll be fine. Just come inside. Jio hesitated, staring at his reflection in the hallway mirror for a long, intense moment. Was he lost in thought? Suddenly he gripped the mirror frame, his knuckles turning white, and let out a terrified scream. Hiji panicked, rushing over to him. What is it? What's wrong? But Jio turned to her, eyes wide with pure ecstasy. I have cheeks, and a nose. I even have lips. Contrary to his excitement, Hiji was utterly confused by this bizarre reaction. Huh. Jio cheered like he'd won the lottery. My face. It finally came back. Hiji stared at him, stunned by the implication. You mean, you didn't know? Jio's expression softened as he confided in her. My face hasn't fully healed since I was a child, so I forgot what I looked like. Recovery in the lab was slow, and every time I started to heal, the experiments would start all over again. His voice dropped to a whisper heavy with trauma. He touched his reflection, mesmerized. So, this is who I am. Hiji felt a cold sweat run down her back, realizing the horror he had endured. She downed a bottle of water, trying to calm her racing heart. The more I hear, the more shocked I get. But curiosity got the better of her. I've been wondering something for a while. Now that you're fully healed, you don't look very old. How old are you exactly? A guess is fine. Ideally, in a leveling manhwa, you'd check a status window, but Jio had to do this the hard way. He innocently opened his hand, counting on his fingers. My age, I haven't calculated it in a long time. The timeline of his suffering played out in his mind as he began to recount his history. I entered the lab at 7. I took the year-end comprehensive exams 7 times, and the seasons have changed 3 times since I escaped. After some quick mental math, he reached a conclusion. 17. The answer hit Hiji so hard she choked on her water. She slammed the bottle down. Wait, so we're the same age. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Hiji leaned in way too close, making Jio's ears burn bright red. He scratched his head, flustered. I was just happy that you treated me like a human being. His humble, heartbreaking admission made Hiji freeze for a few seconds, her own heart doing a flip she didn't quite understand. What was that? It was pitiful, yet somehow incredibly adorable. To break the suffocating awkwardness, Hiji quickly changed the subject. From now on, let's just drop the formalities and use names. Jio agreed instantly. Okay. Hiji pointed to the bathroom. It's almost dinner time. Go wash up. Jio obeyed, immediately compliant as a well-trained puppy. A short while later, the actual puppy was devouring its own dinner tail, wagging so hard it looked like it might fly off. It wasn't just the dog. Jio was eating with the same intense joy. He couldn't stop praising the food. This is amazing. Hot food is actually magic. Hiji watched him lick the bowl clean and breathed a sigh of relief. It's literally just rice, eggs, and soy sauce. I'm sorry I'm not a great cook, but I'm glad you like it. Jio looked like he had been resurrected by the warm meal, his eyes shining. No, seriously. This is the best thing I've eaten in years. As Hiji cleared the table, she remembered the update. Oh, right. My sister messaged. She has an emergency at work and can't come home tonight. Jio had truly cherished the meal, leaving not a single grain of rice behind. With full bellies and a clean kitchen, Hiji set up a sleeping spot for him on the living room sofa. You can sleep here tonight. Jio hesitated, looking around. Here. Hiji raised an eyebrow. Why is something wrong with it? Jio waved his hands frantically. No. I can sleep on the floor. Seeing him panic over comfort made Hiji chuckle. It's fine. Just take this blanket and sleep on the sofa. Jio accepted the blanket with the reverence of a knight receiving a sword. Thank you. Hiji flicked off the lights. I have homework to do, so I'm heading to my room. Good night. Jio was overwhelmed with gratitude. Yeah. Thanks. Hiji closed her door firmly, leaving Jio standing alone in the quiet, darkened living room. He slowly looked around, his reflection caught in the dark screen of the television. A TV. How can it be this big and this thin? Everything in this world felt alien to him. They even keep flowers inside the house. It's completely different from the lab. The moment he sat down, his eyes went wide. It's so comfortable. How can a sofa be this soft? It's softer than the beds back at the facility. Meanwhile, the puppy was still chewing on something in its bowl. Suddenly, the little dog started choking. Jio watched it cough violently, and panic surged through his veins. He froze, terrified. Finally, the puppy coughed up the obstruction. But Jio was already traumatized, his face pale as death. Puppy! He threw off the blanket and sprinted to the dog's side. But the dog instantly went back to normal eating, as if nothing happened. Jio stood there stiff as a board. The puppy looked up at him, confused by the outburst. Seeing the animal happy and safe, Jio finally exhaled the tension leaving his body. Thank God. He scooped the dog up, a genuine smile spreading across his face. Jio rolled around on the sofa, hugging the dog, basking in the sensation. Warm. Soft. This is the best. The puppy, sensing his joy, climbed all over him, licking his face excitedly. Jio laughed. You like it too, huh? He looked into the dog's eyes with deep affection. I need to give you a name. Your mom was named Potato. So, Fry. Jio gently patted the small head. How about Fry, do you like that? The puppy wagged its tail enthusiastically. It was decided. Okay then. From now on, your name is Fry. In the quiet comfort of the house, Fry quickly fell asleep. Jio watched him, a subconscious smile lingering on his lips. It's so warm. Is this what happiness feels like? He thought about the delicious meal he just ate. He recalled the sensation of the hot bath water soaking into his skin. It was a bliss he had never known. He stroked Fry's fur, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. And to sleep in a place this soft, but his mind wouldn't let him rest for long. For a fugitive like him, comfort was a trap. He knew better than anyone that this piece could be snatched away in a heartbeat. Drifting between sleep and wakefulness, the nightmare of the lab clawed its way back. Run, move it. In his memory, Jio was leading a desperate charge, shouting at others to flee toward the exit. Chasing them was a squad of Death Class A mutants from the lab, stronger than any awakening Manhwa boss. The hunters raised their weapons, aiming at the fleeing group. Don't let a single one escape. Explosions rocked the corridor, the blast wave, hurling the escapees through the air like ragdolls. The agony of that day was carved into Jio's very soul, a scar of helplessness he could never erase. That accursed day would haunt him for eternity. But the nightmare didn't end there. A merciless muzzle aimed straight at the fallen, ready to execute. The trigger clicked, unleashing a hellstorm of flames that roared forward like a devouring tsunami. Yet the lab monsters underestimated their will. The short-haired girl summoned a barrier of ice, buying them precious seconds against the inferno. Crushed beneath rubble, Jio drifted into the abyss until a voice pierced the darkness. Kim, Jio, wake up. A scarred hand reached through the debris. A dark-haired ally manipulated massive tree roots, straining every muscle to heave the boulder off Jio. Their eyes met a silent pact formed in the chaos. Even at death's door, the girl pointed toward freedom. Go! The exit is right there! Jio grasped her hand, sprinting blindly toward the light. The memory weighed on him like a mountain. They had fought so hard for freedom, yet fate was cruel. In the end, they were torn apart, leaving only haunting gazes behind. The guilt gnawed at him, denying him rest. Were they suffering right this moment while he breathed free air? Those scars forged a steel resolve. Never again. He stroked Fry, his hand trembling not with fear but with power. Crimson veins pulsed as his aura flared. The ancient energy surged his heart, thundering like a war drum within his chest. He swore a blood oath. If anyone dared threaten this fragile peace, they would face his wrath. His eyes burned with a terrifying, icy fury. He would annihilate them all. But the morning sun brought a different kind of crisis. Jio's desperate screams shattered the dawn as he sprinted down the silent street. Fry, Fry. He wailed, tears streaming down his face. Panic consumed him. Where are you, buddy? Don't leave me. To understand this chaos, we must rewind. Hours earlier, Song Hee-ji prepared to leave. Jio, I'm off to school. Her words left him blinking in confusion. Guard the house. I'll return tonight. Jio tilted his head. Tonight? Song Hee-ji nodded, burdened by her schedule. I have too much to do. Understood. He wondered what mysteries school held. But before she could leave, Fry frantically clawed at the door, stopping her in her tracks. What's wrong, boy? Both of them stared at the dog. Song Hee-ji scanned him. He doesn't look sick. What is it? Maybe he's just bored, Song Hee-ji sighed. I can't take him. Jio stepped up, eager to help. Then let me take him for a walk. Song Hee-ji hesitated, fear flickering in her eyes. Is that safe? What if those hunters find you? Jio scoffed confidently. Relax. I look completely different now. Who would recognize me? After a pause, she finally relented. All right then. Just make sure to use the leash in the second drawer. With a final wave, she rushed out. I'm late. See you later. Catch you later. But the moment Fry hit the pavement, he writhed in agony. Jio gripped the leash tight. Stop it, Fry. You can't slip out. The dog thrashed violently, sparking Jio's concern. Is it really that unbearable? He loosened his grip. Did I tie it too tight? A shadow crossed Jio's face. He knew this pain. The memory of his own collar burned the electric shocks that scorched his flesh whenever he dared to move. His heart ached with empathy, but logic argued back. I have no choice, Fry. Civilians won't like a beast running loose. Forgive me just this once. But when he looked down, he held nothing but an empty collar. Jio's jaw dropped. You escaped, and that triggered the current crisis. Fry, come back. He searched desperately on the verge of tears while the dog enjoyed a freedom run. Jio scoured the streets, his hunter instincts failing him. Answer me, Fry. He even ripped open trash cans in his frenzy. Are you here? He checked under cars and stuck his head into garbage piles. Nothing. He tore at his hair in pure frustration. What do I do? What if he's gone forever? Dark scenarios began to play out in his mind like a tragedy. What if he's hurt or captured? He sobbed. I promised to protect him. Suddenly, a commotion nearby caught his heightened senses. Through the fence, he spotted him. Fry was lounging on the school grounds, grooming himself like a king. There was no mistaking that silhouette. Jio exploded into motion, guessing the dog had tracked Song Hee-ji. A gym teacher blinked, seeing only a blur tear past him. Hold on. The teacher froze. That speed, it's impossible. But Jio was already gone, his mind focused solely on his target. Wait for me. He breached the perimeter, finding a world of students playing soccer and chatting a symphony of youthful energy. Jio concealed himself behind a tree, bewildered. Why is everyone so happy? He gazed around. So this is the legendary school. Suddenly voices drifted over. Students were discussing an urban legend sounding like a live manhwa recap. They say the mutants escaped from a lab. Just rumors, right? A phone screen flashed a bounty notice. Unregistered mutants wanted. 1 billion reward. It was the dark reality of this system Manhwa world exposed. The students gasped at the price tag. If we catch one, we're set for life. It's like a real-life leveling Manhwa event. Idiot, could you even fight a gangster? Let a man dream. Jio's blood ran cold. To them, he was just a payday in this awakening Manhwa reality. I need to grab Fry and vanish. Now. His eyes locked onto the target. Found you? Nearby a girl was filming a dance challenge. How was that take? Her lackeys immediately heaped praise. Perfect Min-young, you're devastatingly beautiful. A total goddess. Min-young soaked up the adoration. Oh please, you two are cute too. Suddenly her gaze shifted. Wait, is that a puppy? Oh my gosh, adorable. She scooped Fry up. Where's your mommy? She instantly prepped her camera. Quick, get in frame for the story. Before he could even hit record, a shadowy figure photobombed the screen. Min-young screamed in terror. Who is that A-stalker? A creepy pervert. The girls immediately launched a barrage of insults at the intruder. Flustered by the hostility, Jio popped his head out from the bushes. I'm sorry. He stammered, his voice trembling. I didn't mean to scare you, but you have Fry. But as soon as the girls got a clear look at Jio, their anger evaporated. Wait, he's totally gorgeous, they whispered, eyeing his physique. Is he a freshman? I've never seen him before. Is he a transfer student? Jio asked awkwardly. Sorry, did I ruin your video? Suddenly the girls realized their luck. We're filming for TikTok, want to join? One girl scolded her friend for being too forward, but she ignored it completely. Who cares? Look at those visuals. She turned to Jio with a flirtatious smile. Let's be friends right now. Jio stood there completely bewildered by the sudden attention. No, I can't take pictures. But they ignored him, shoving a phone in his face. Just give us your Instagram ID. The owner of the phone was Min-young, the queen bee herself. I'll even tag you, she offered graciously. Her friends gasped. Min-young never asks first. You've hit the jackpot. Hurry up. Min-young has over 100,000 followers, they urged. If she tags you in this Manhwa recap, your follower count will explode instantly. But Jio was completely clueless about social media. Min-young smirked confidently. He's cute when he's shy. The cool, mysterious type, I like that. Jio hesitated, unsure how to explain, while she assumed he was just playing hard to get. Just give it to me already. Then he dropped a bomb that froze the air. I don't have that. Min-young's face went stiff, her grip tightening on her phone. Ignoring the awkward tension, Jio bowed politely. I appreciate the offer, but I have to decline. The rejection hit like a physical slap. The other girls whispered in shock. No way. Did Min-young just get rejected? Usually guys begged for her Insta. This was unprecedented. Min-young's expression twisted with humiliation and rage. Is this guy for real trying to embarrass me? She tried to salvage her pride. Whatever, weirdo. I only wanted to tag you. Who do you think you are? Before she could finish her rant, Jio scooped up Fry. This is my dog. I'm taking him back. His focus on the dog only fueled her anger. Fry, I'm sorry, Jio whispered tenderly. I won't let you get lost again. But nearby, a storm was brewing. Taegu watched the scene, his jealousy boiling over. Who is that punk? His teammates asked, pausing their game. Hey Taegu, isn't that your crush over there? They poured oil on the fire. Looks like that guy is using his dog to pick up Min-young. I've been watching the whole time, Taegu growled, face turning red. Some transfer student thinks he can swoop in. His ego couldn't handle it. That bastard is hitting on Min-young right in front of me. He snatched the ball from his teammate. Give me that. The teammate panicked. Wait, you broke a guy's nose last time. Taegu didn't care. Not my problem. He launched a full power kick, sending the ball rocketing toward them like a cannonball. The projectile screamed through the air. By the time Jio sensed the danger, it was too late to dodge. He instinctively turned, shielding the dog with his body. Bam! The ball smashed directly into Jio's face with a sickening thud. The nearest girl gasped. Oh my god, are you okay? Blood began to drip onto the pavement. He's bleeding, the girls shrieked. Taegu jogged over with a fake innocent look. Oops, my bad. My foot slipped. Min-young glared at him. You idiot, you almost hit me. Sorry, total accident. Taegu laughed it off. Min-young turned back to Jio, her voice softening. Does it hurt? Suddenly, a chilling aura erupted from Jio. Jio's eyes were cold as ice. My dog almost got hurt. Apologize. Taegu scoffed, mocking him. Look at you bleeding from both nostrils and barking orders. Suddenly realizing Min-young was watching, Taegu switched masks. Oh damn. Did I hit your face? He pretended to care. My bad. I broke a guy's nose last time, you better check that at the nurse's office. Jio hugged Fry tighter, his gaze darkening. I'm fine, but you almost hit Fry. Watch it next time. Taegu ignored the warning, whispering a taunt. Bleeding like a pig but still acting tough, he waved dismissively. Yeah, sorry about the mutt. Jio forced a smile, though his eyes remained serious. Apology accepted. I'm fine. Without wasting another second on them, he turned to leave. Let's go home, Fry. One of Taegu's lackeys walked up impressed. Wow, he's tougher than I thought. Taegu snapped at him. Shut up. As the crowd dispersed, Taegu's expression turned sinister. Find out which class that bastard is in. I don't like his attitude. Meanwhile, Jio's mood had already brightened. He walked away relieved. That was close, I almost lost Fry. A spark of excitement lit up inside him. So this is what school is like, meeting people my age. Jio grinned to himself. This is fun. I wonder if I can make a lot of friends. Suddenly a voice called out from behind. Hey buddy. Taegu ran up, draping an arm around Jio's shoulder like an old pal. I wanted to apologize properly for earlier. Jio blinked, confused by the sudden shift. Buddy, we're in the same grade that makes us friends, right? Taegu smiled deceptively. I feel bad about the face shot. Let me treat you to some bread. At the mention of food, Jio almost drooled. His naivety took over. You're really buying me bread? Taegu nodded vigorously. Of course, the bread here is legendary. Jio patted Fry's head. Do they have stuff Fry can eat? Taegu didn't miss a beat. Absolutely. Whatever you want, it's on me. The trap was set. You must be hungry. I'll give you a feast. Before Jio could process the situation, a foot slammed into his back. The cheap shot sent him stumbling forward. As Jio scrambled to get up, a mocking voice echoed from above. You actually followed me, you moron. Jio's eyes darkened as he looked up. Did you really think I was buying you treats? Standing before him were Taegu and his gang of delinquents smirking maliciously. This guy is totally brain dead. Don't worry, we'll feed you. A knuckle sandwich. Get ready for a feast of pain. The bullies encircled him. Taegu cracked his knuckles, sneering. What a total loser. Jio held Fry close silent. Taegu frowned, annoyed by the lack of fear. You want a beating that bad? Who do you think you are? Jio replied calmly. What do you mean? That calm response snapped Taegu's patience. How dare you hit on Minyoung? He pointed a finger in Jio's face. One punch is all it takes to make you cry for your mommy. Stop acting cool. Fry barked aggressively at the threat. Taegu's lackeys burst into laughter. Look, even the dog is stiff with fear. Take it easy, Taegu. One goon laughed. Don't kill him. He's so skinny he might snap in half if you breathe on him too hard. But Taegu was already raising his fist ready to strike. Damn it, I genuinely thought I was summoned here to form a connection. Turns out it is just another trap. With a heavy heart, he turned away and muttered, My apologies. I seem to be a bother. I will take my leave. But the other boy suddenly voiced his confusion. In an instant, Jun's squad blocked his path, a menacing smirk playing on their lips as they asked, And just where do you think you are going? The thug behind him taunted, Seriously? You acted so naturally I almost let you walk right out of here. Jio's brow furrowed in annoyance as he commanded, Move, you are scaring Fry. The creature in his arms stuck out its tongue in defiance. But the moment the sentence ended, the thug lunged at Jio, slapping him across the face with disrespectful force. You are no different from that mutt. How dare you bark at me? Yet before his hand could even fully connect, Jio blasted him backward. Blood sprayed from his nose in a gruesome arc. The entire gang froze, eyes wide in disbelief as they watched Jun twitching on the cold ground. What the hell? Why is Jun down already? Taegu's jaw dropped, his face draining of all color. What is happening? Am I seeing things? He barely swung his arm, and Jun went flying like a rag doll. Recovering from the shock, the mob roared and rushed Jio all at once in a blind rage. You bastard, what did you just do? They screamed, their voices cracking with fear and anger. You just hit Jun. Jio stared at them with eyes cold as ice, his gaze narrowing slightly. A sudden light flashed within his heart. With a single devastating punch, he reduced the entire group to groaning heaps on the floor. Taegu stumbled back in terror. Jio accelerated, aiming a strike directly at him. Tears streamed down Taegu's face like a broken dam. Reflexively, he threw his hands up to block. The fist of a monster halted millimeters from his eyes. It was a punch carrying enough force to shake the heavens and the earth. At the very last microsecond, Jio shifted the trajectory, slamming his fist into the wall instead. Taegu trembled violently in the aftermath. Jio's eyes burned with warning as he spoke. I told you to stop. You are terrifying, Fry. Fry smirked, clearly satisfied with the violence, while the thugs shrieked in horror. Realizing they were outmatched, the group scrambled to their feet and fled, leaving Taegu alone to face the demon. He is insane. He is a literal monster. Taegu stared at the crater in the concrete, his mind racing. Impossible. Holy crap. Did he just crack a solid wall? He collapsed to the ground, legs turning to jelly. I am dead. If that hit me, my bones would have turned to dust. Snot and tears flowed freely from Taegu's face as the grim reality set in. He had provoked a dragon. He immediately bowed his head, desperate for survival. I am so sorry, I swear I will never do it again. Taegu frantically pulled out his phone, displaying a picture of a dog named Poppy. It was them. They were the ones who wanted to hurt your puppy. I never intended to touch him. I swear on my life I raise a dog at home too. Look, his name is Poppy. Isn't he adorable? Jio paused, his hostility wavering. He actually raises a dog. Could he actually be a good person? Fry's eyes sparkled with delight upon seeing the canine on the screen. Taegu continued his desperate plea. Please, just let me go this one time. A heavy silence hung between them, thick with tension. Finally, Jio looked at Fry and sighed. Using all that power made me hungry. Come to think of it, I haven't eaten anything today. Taegu blinked in confusion. He is bringing that up now. Looking at Jio's blank expression, Taegu realized something. This guy. He is pretending to spare me just to extort food. What a sinister mastermind. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Song Hee-ji diligently studying in her classroom. At the cafeteria, Taegu piled a mountain of snacks onto the table as a tribute. Jio and Fry stared with sparkling eyes, clearly touched. Thank you. I will eat this well. Jio dug in, eating with ferocious appetite. Taegu watched him with a mix of fear and confusion. Jio looked at Fry and beamed. This is delicious. There are even strawberries in the cake. Fry wagged his tail happily. Taegu gritted his teeth, thinking, what is wrong with him? He possesses godlike strength, yet acts like a total moron. I cannot figure him out. He recalled the earlier battle. That punch sent grown men flying through the air. No. Is he a former national athlete? Or maybe a professional boxer? Taegu's face darkened in deep thought. But even a pro athlete, can they really throw someone hard enough to crack a concrete wall? I have never witnessed raw power like that in my life. He made up his mind. I need to call in a special measure for this freak. Jio was still lost in his own world, talking to Fry. Try this one. It literally melts in your mouth. Taking advantage of the distraction, Taegu slipped into a corner and dialed a number. Oh, big brother Yuchun. Hello, it is Taegu. How have you been? In a dimly lit gambling den, a man with a sinister smile answered. Taegu. It has been a while. What do you want? This was Na Yuchun, 20 years old. Taegu whispered urgently into the phone. Big brother, I need a huge favor. Can you help me handle something? I am in deep trouble. Yuchun frowned, unimpressed. What, did you get beat up by someone? Are you kidding me? You called me just because you lost a fight. Do I look free to you? Taegu practically screamed in a whisper. No. This guy is a literal monster. This is the first and last time I will ever ask for your help. Please, just help me save face this one time. Yuchun's lackeys in the background called out. What is it? Who is calling? Yuchun smirked, amused by the desperation. It is that high school kid Taegu. The idiot got owned and wants us to clean up his mess. A subordinate laughed. What a loser. Who could possibly beat him? I am bored anyway. Tell him I will head over in a bit. Yuchun rubbed his temples, feigning annoyance. What a pain. All right, I happen to be near your school today. Bring him out. Taegu's eyes lit up. Really, thank you so much, big brother. Taegu glanced back at Jio, a wicked grin spreading across his face. Transfer student, you are dead meat now. Suddenly, Jio extended a bag of chips toward him. Do you want some? Taegu froze, instantly caught off guard. Jio continued innocently. Eating alone makes me feel a bit sad. Taegu forced an awkward smile and pushed a pile of sausages forward. No. You eat it all. Have these too, and drink this. Jio's face lit up with pure joy. Really, thanks. Taegu watched him feed. Fry's mind racing with suspicion. How can a guy like this be so strong? Taegu focused on Jio's hand as he fed the pet. It was completely unblemished, suspiciously healed. Wait. He punched a concrete wall earlier. His knuckles should be shattered. Why are they perfectly fine? Taegu frowned. Superhuman strength and instant regeneration. He recalled a documentary about the lore often found in an awakening manhwa. Depending on the constitution of their heart, certain individuals can wield supernatural abilities, but they make up only 0.001% of the population. It was just like the logic in a system manhwa. Taegu thought, it cannot be. He decided to ask directly. Are you a mutant heart? Upon hearing those words, Jio spat his water all over Fry in shock. He stammered, sweating profusely. No, absolutely not, Taegu realized immediately. Holy crap. He is terrible at lying. He covered his mouth to hide his shock. A mutant heart. This is the first time I have seen one with my own eyes. He looks exactly like a normal human. Taegu glanced to the side, panic setting in. Wait. If he is a mutant heart, isn't he extremely dangerous? Realizing his backup might get slaughtered if they came unprepared, he quickly dialed Yuchun again. Yuchun slammed his hand on the table and roared. "A mutant heart." He emphasized the words, eyes widening. "You are telling me he is an awakened one?" His gang members immediately turned their attention to their leader. Taegu whispered, trembling. "Yes, he is a mutant. I didn't know he was this terrifying. It is too dangerous. Maybe we should forget about teaching him a lesson." But Yuchun's reaction was unexpected. "No, that makes it even better. We will handle it. Keep him there. Do not let him leave." "Yes, sir. I understand." Suddenly Jio stood up, wiping his mouth. "I am done eating. I am leaving now." Taegu panicked. "You are going already. Lunch break isn't over yet." Jio smiled brightly. "I am going home." Taegu bit his lip in frustration. "I have to stall him until the gang arrives." The weather outside was beautiful, and suddenly a devious idea sparked in his mind. "Hey, how about we ditch this boring class and live a little..." Taegu looked confused, but they headed straight for the arcade. Jio's eyes lit up like a kid on Christmas when he saw the game machines. "It's blindingly bright. What is this place?" He gasped, totally bewildered. It was his first time setting foot in an arcade. Taegu smiled awkwardly, answering honestly. "I didn't even know a place like this existed." Jio wandered around praising everything he saw. "Everything is so new. It's amazing." Jio pressed his face against the glass of a claw machine. He excitedly realized, "That's the exact same plushie Song Hee-ji has on her bag." Taegu asked in disbelief, "You've never seen a claw machine before?" In his head, he couldn't help but think, what kind of rock has this guy been living under? Suddenly, Taegu stepped up to coach him like a true sunbae. "Here, just put the money in the slot." Jio stammered, surprised. "Huh, let me try." Taegu snapped impatiently. "Move over. Let me show you how it's done." Taegu focused, teaching him the art of the claw. "Just use the joystick to position it over the prize." Watching the doll rise, Jio's eyes went wide with admiration. The claw is actually moving. Success. The doll was captured. Jio hugged it tight, laughing in pure bliss. "Now I have a plushie just like Song Hee-ji." Hearing that, Taegu felt a surge of pride puff up his chest. Jio continued his praise. "This is so much fun, so this is what an arcade is like." Taegu let out a sinister chuckle. Internally, he thought, perfect. He took the bait. "I just need to stall him here until the gang arrives. Easy." Taegu pointed to a karaoke booth. "Wait, have you ever tried a coin karaoke?" Jio muttered, confused. "Karaoke? Coin." Taegu smiled and explained. "It's a place to sing. Pick whatever song you like, I'll set it up." Jio scratched his head, smiling sheepishly. "A song I don't really know any." Taegu shouted, "Just sing anything you're with a friend, it doesn't have to be good." Jio answered slowly. And so a nursery rhyme began to play. Jio screamed at the top of his lungs. "Hold mom's hand on the picnic, sweet cotton candy." Taegu went insane, yelling, "Who sings nursery rhymes at karaoke? How long are you going to act like a weirdo?" Jio's eyes widened in shock. "Am I not supposed to sing this? It's the only one I know." He lowered the mic, his voice heavy with sorrow. "My mom taught me this before I was separated from my family at 7. My life hasn't exactly been normal, so I never learned any other songs." Hearing this, Taegu felt a pang of guilt. Separated at 7, life hasn't been normal. He froze, staring at Jio. What the hell is wrong with this guy? Is this really how a mutant heart behaves? Suddenly, Taegu burst into tears, crying out, "Mom, now you've got me emotional too." He pulled out some cash, channeling his inner big brother. "You haven't lived a normal life. Then you should live a phenomenal one. Follow me. I'm about to open up a whole new world for you." Jio looked at him, confused but trusting. They played countless games together. First, the drums. Taegu commanded, "Hit it harder." Next was the fighting game. He lectured arrogantly, "Stop spamming those cheap moves." Jio argued back, "Isn't that how you win?" Taegu replied bluntly, "That's not the way of the warrior." Next up was the dance machine. Jio was terrible at it, and Taegu laughed mercilessly. "You really suck at this, you know that." Jio scratched his head, admitting, "It's harder than it looks." The sky outside was beautiful and clear. As they left the arcade, Taegu panted, exhausted. "We played so hard I lost track of time." Jio cradled the plushie, smiling like an angel. Jio handed him a water bottle, offering praise. "The arcade was amazing. I've never had this much fun." Taegu replied proudly, "C told you it'd be fun." Suddenly a phone rang out. Taegu laughed, wondering, "Look at that, who's calling me now?" He picked up, and a voice roared through the speaker. "You bastard, pick up your phone faster." The smile vanished from his face. It was replaced by a look of sheer terror. "Right. Now Yuchun. I was supposed to keep him here so the boss could teach him a lesson. I completely forgot because I was having too much fun." Taegu looked at the photo booth strip in his hand, confused. "I even forgot and took pictures with him. Am I an idiot? He stared closely at the photo. Two friends laughing together. Taegu fell silent, deep in thought. Taegu glanced at Jio standing in the bustling crowd. The scene was strangely peaceful. Later he stood before Na Yuchun's gang. They asked, "Well," Taegu bowed 90 degrees, apologizing. "I'm sorry, boss." Turns out he isn't the mutant heart. The gang exploded in rage, swarming around Taegu. "Are you kidding me right now?" He kept apologizing. "I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry." Fear filled Taegu's eyes, but his thoughts were with Jio. "I get it now. He didn't do anything wrong." He flashed back to the moment at the arcade. Taegu had asked, "Is that puppy your only family?" Jio's face had shown pure loneliness and grief. Covering his face to hide his weakness, he whispered, "Yeah, it hurts like hell." Taegu, crying, had shown a picture of his own dog. "I actually understand. My puppy is 17 years old. I don't know when he's going to pass away either." They sat on the bench, comforting each other. Taegu admitted sadly, "Just thinking about her dying makes me want to cry. The truth is, I almost killed my friends once for teasing her." Jio replied, "God, it's okay now." Back in reality, Taegu told himself, "Right. I'm not doing this for him. I'm doing it for the dog. If something happens to him, who takes care of the puppy?" His thought was cut short. Na Yuchun threw a punch right in front of his face. Taegu's eyes widened in shock. Then the fist connected, threatening to split his skull in two. He screamed in agony. Taegu collapsed to the ground, his body trembling in fear. Yet the fire in his eyes remained stubbornly unbroken. Na Yuchun grabbed him by the hair, barking, "Taegu!" He leaned in close, his voice dripping with malice. "You think I like jokes? I asked you where the mutant is." Taegu's face was swollen, covered in bruises, gripped by terror. Na Yuchun pressed his terrifying face closer. "Do you think I'm playing games? Where is the mutant heart?" Meanwhile, Jio was gritting his teeth, hyper-focused on a game somewhere else. The thugs looked arrogant, weapons ready in hand. "Hey, you little punk!" There were also those hiding in the shadows wearing masks. "Are you deaf?" Na Yuchun gripped Taegu's head tighter, threatening him. "Don't you see we gathered the whole crew just to catch that guy?" Taegu rubbed his palms together, begging desperately. "Boss, I spent the whole day with him. If this was an Awakening Manhwa scenario and he was a mutant heart, I would have felt some killing intent, but there was absolutely nothing." He laughed, mocking Jio's clumsiness. "That guy is just a total loser. He even collapsed from exhaustion after just 2 rounds of the dance game. I thought he was strong at first, but the guys he beat were just weaklings." Taegu looked up, his face full of confident determination. "He is genuinely a massive idiot. I'm sorry for making you guys come all this way for nothing." Na Yuchun's cheek twitched in irritation. Frustrated, he ran a hand through his hair. "So, you're telling me this place is completely empty?" Taegu stammered, his voice trembling. Yes, sir." The gangster shifted his weight casually, draping a heavy arm over Taegu's shoulder, while puffing on a cigarette. "Taegu, you holding a grudge because I roughed you up a bit." Na Yuchun took a long drag, his eyes sharp and predatory. "Listen, brat, I can see the lies written all over your face." A sinister, devilish grin spread across his face as he cornered his prey. "Why change your mind now? Spill it." Taegu couldn't even meet his gaze, eyes glued to the floor in sheer terror. "Having second thoughts, is that guy really that terrifying to you? I told you he's a monster, not a human in this dangerous Awakening Manhwa world. You know what those variants are capable of." Na Yuchun smiled, eyes crinkling into crescents as he extended a hand. "I'm doing this so the boys can handle things cleanly. Don't tell me you're worried about your big bro here, us losing." He laughed, a harsh sound. "Damn, you're a comedian." Taegu's expression darkened, but he held his ground. "No, I'm serious." The gangster's massive hand went up, 5 fingers splayed like a cage. "Fine, damn it. 500. Na Yuchun made the offer with a greedy glint in his eyes. "I'm feeling generous today. Hand over that injection variant, and 500 is yours. How's that? Your Aniki is playing fair, right? I've even got a broker lined up to take that freak off our hands. Clean, simple, no traces left behind." Cold sweat drenched Taegu's face as the realization hit him. This wasn't justice. It was human trafficking. On the phone screen, a news report flashed video footage of recent kidnappings targeting variants in the Awakened. Rumors said labs and the government were paying top dollar for test subjects. Taegu's hands shook violently against the cold ground. "I thought those were just urban legends. I never expected my Aniki to pull stunts you'd only see in a dark Manhwa recap video." Taegu waved his hands frantically, his voice cracking as he tried to plead. "Big bro, he's nobody, nothing special. Please believe me." Before he could finish, Na Yuchun's patience snapped. A brutal kick slammed into his stomach. "You little piece of trash." Taegu flew back, crashing hard against the floor. The agony was instant, tears streaming down his face as he curled up. "Damn it, finish him!" Na Yuchun roared, rage exploding as he raised a fist. He didn't stop at one kick. He stomped on Taegu's head repeatedly. "I'll beat the truth out of you right now." Taegu couldn't fight back, only endure the merciless assault. "Don't, please stop." He curled into a ball like a shrimp taking blow after heavy blow. Eyes shut tight, arms covering his head to shield himself. It was a cruel déjà vu. The scene was exactly like when Taegu was just a helpless student. Damn loser, useless trash. Even then he had laid on the floor just like this, begging for mercy. Stop it, please. But those arrogant bullies just laughed. Die, you bookworm freak. That's when Nayuchin had appeared, a towering giant flanked by two others. Hey, who said first years could bully their classmates? You guys have a death wish? Terrified by his aura, the bullies scrambled away like rats. Sorry, we're leaving. Nayuchin turned his gaze to the skinny, battered boy on the ground. Oi, Taegu. The boy trembled in his wretched state. Yes. Nayuchin squatted down, cigarette in hand, and burst into laughter. It's me, your Aniki. Kid, if you're gonna be in my dojo, you can't let them beat you to a pulp like this. But now, it was Taegu's body on the line, crushed by the very hero he admired. Back then, Aniki seemed like a god of war, righteous, skilled, and undeniably cool. The three of them stood panting, the memory fading into the harsh reality. I wanted to be just like you guys, because you looked so amazing. But now Taegu lay broken on the concrete, cheeks swollen, and blood dripping from his head. Is this brat gonna keep his mouth shut? Does he really not know? Nayuchin sneered. No way. I've known this kid for years. I can smell a lie from a mile away. He crouched down again, voice dripping with sarcasm. Taegu, look at you trying to be a hero. So loyal. Very impressive, kid. His face softened slightly, but the threat remained. But listen closely, brat. Selling him to the broker isn't a game. He looked down at Taegu's ruined face, one eye swollen shut. If you try to sell him yourself, what will you get? 2, maybe 300? Nayuchin held up a finger, his expression twisting into pure, unadulterated greed. When your body is rot, loyalty is worthless trash. Bring me the chain. He grabbed the heavy steel links, wrapping them around his fist. You said you wanted to live with dignity, right? Clang. Nayuchin slammed his fist into his palm. Making boatloads of cash? That's the only way to live a truly legendary and dignified life, kid. He extended his hand, grinning like a devil. Let's live a grand life together, brother. Taegu, barely conscious, forced his bruised eyes open. Aniki, I'm sorry. The air suddenly grew heavy, suffocating. But Aniki, right now you don't look cool at all. The moment the words left his mouth, terror seized him. Oh God, what did I just say? Veins popped on Nayuchin's forehead, rage boiling over like a volcano. Is that so? I get it now. He roared. Taegu, you son of a bitch! Taegu shielded his face in panic. Aniki, sorry, it just slipped out. But Nayuchin was past listening. He pulled back the chain-wrapped fist, aiming to kill. Go to hell. Wham! But the blow never landed. A slender hand caught the deadly strike mid-air. Nayuchin glared, stunned by the calm voice that followed. This chain is as thick as a pinky finger. Weld marks rough surface. Kim Jio stood there, calmly holding a puppy in one arm while blocking the gangster with the other. Getting hit by this would take a long time to heal. The goons finally noticed the intruder. Who the hell is this guy? Taegu lifted his battered, swollen face to see his savior. Kim Jio. The newcomer crouched down casually. I came looking for you. You were taking too long. Taegu's eyes widened in fear. Run. These are the big shots I told you about. Kim Jio just sat there listening in silence, eyes wide with mock surprise. Actually, I'm the one who called them here. I called them to deal with you, Taegu shouted, desperate to push him away. I confessed everything I told them. You're a variant. Kim Jio didn't flinch. Is that so? Taegu gritted his teeth, bitter tears mixing with the blood on his face. Because I was pissed that you beat me. I'm sorry. But Kim Jio simply looked at him with an aura of absolute calm. It's okay. Don't worry. Kim Jio turned his gaze to the gang leader, still gripping Nayuchin's arm like a vice. Why use a weapon like this on a friend? Nayuchin's face twisted in malice, while Taegu froze in shock. Swish behind Kim Jio. A thug swung a baseball bat with full force. The attacker frowned as the blow connected. Or did it? Pain exploded from the base of his skull, his eyes rolling back into the abyss of unconsciousness. As he collapsed, the three lackeys descended like vultures, raining down a storm of kicks and blows. He didn't lift his head, silently enduring the brutal barrage. Even his puppy sensed the danger, barking furiously at the violence. Taegu watched, paralyzed by fear, yet desperate to reach out. Impossible. The masked lackey crouched low, a baseball bat resting ominously in his grip. So you're the trash with the rumored mutant heart? Walked right into the lion's den, didn't you? Jio's fingers dug into the blood-stained concrete. Suddenly those slender fingers twitched. Something was waking up. The masked thug frowned, staring down in confusion. But in a flash, an uppercut from hell slammed into his jaw out of nowhere. The impact sent him flying. Nayuchin barely leaned back to dodge the shockwave. There it was. Jio's face twisted into a mask of pure fury, eyes rolled back in a berserk trance. From the filth, Jio's battered body began to rise like an undead soldier. He stood tall, head bowed in ominous silence. Nayuchin screamed, losing his cool. "Kill him! Put him down now!" He stood motionless as the pack of wolves circled him. They lunged all at once. A chaotic melee erupted, strikes raining down on his defenseless form. Wham! One punch from Jio sent a thug launching through the air. One by one, they tasted his fist faces, caving in blood, spraying like a fountain. His face was a pale canvas of apathy, his eyes dead cold. Jio moved with supernatural agility, weaving and striking. His brow furrowed. The predator had found its prey. The masked punk wasn't done. He charged in, swinging the bat with lethal intent. Crack! A direct hit to Jio's skull, sending a spray of crimson into the air. But Jio didn't even flinch. He drove a fist into the guy's ribs, shattering bone. The thug crumbled to the ground, shards of his mask scattering. The remaining goon in black froze, terror gripping his heart. What the hell is this? How does he have this kind of power? The red-shirted thug struggled to open his swollen eyes. Is he even human anymore? Jio's eyes were pools of endless darkness as he hoisted the masked thug by the throat. Nayuchin snapped. Face flushed with humiliation, he grabbed a blade and charged. "Useless trash, move." He drove the blade deep into Jio's back. "He's just meat and bone. If I stab him, he dies just like anyone else." Nayuchin gloated, twisting the weapon deeper into the wound. "How's that, you dog? Hurts like hell, doesn't it?" Black hair shadowed Jio's face as blood trickled from his lips. Nayuchin refused to stop preparing to carve him up. "Damn, you just die already, you freakish monster." Clang Jio grabbed the razor-sharp blade with his bare hand. Nayuchin froze, his face draining of color. Jio held the knife, glaring back with the eyes of a demon. "That's enough stabbing." Ignoring the steel slicing into his palm, Jio ripped the weapon out with zero hesitation. Terror finally took hold. Nayuchin shook like a leaf. What are you? What kind of heart do you have to stay standing after that?" Jio stared silently at the blood-soaked blade in his hand. "Me." His eyes flashed with rage as he plunged the knife into Nayuchin's thigh. "Trash like you doesn't deserve to know." Witnessing the carnage, the lackeys scrambled to escape. "I told you not to mess with the mutant hearts. I'm out, I quit. Wait for me." Swish. Something flew past, nailing the target instantly. A crimson trail followed Jio's gaze as he dragged Nayuchin toward the fleeing cowards. His pupils had turned blood red. The awakening was complete. "Now that you've seen my secret." In this quintessential awakening manhwa moment, Jio's eyes glowed with horror. "None of you are leaving this place alive." Outside, the puppy wagged its tail, oblivious to the violence. Nayuchin's face was mashed into pulp as Jio dragged him by the hair. Another thug lay nearby, his face caved in from the pressure. Jio stood like a god of war, gripping the heads of his defeated foes. He slowly lifted his gaze, hearing a weak voice call his name. Jio. Taegu, battered and bruised, crawled desperately toward him. "Are you okay? You've been stabbed? I'm calling an ambulance, just hang on." Jio calmly checked his own torso. "Don't worry, I'm fine." But Taegu was on the verge of panic. "What, that wound?" Cold sweat poured down his swollen face. Taegu couldn't hold his gaze. Shame washed over him as he looked away. Finally, the words escaped his trembling lips. I'm so sorry." Taegu clenched his fist and began punching his own head. "Hey Taegu, you stupid piece of trash, you should have just died. I told myself to choose friends carefully." Jio paused, surprised by the outburst. Who the hell sells out their own friend? Taegu lay prostrate on the floor, a pathetic sight. "I'm sorry. I really was going to sell you out. I used to be close with those guys." Self-loathing radiated from him as he gritted his teeth. "I thought hanging out with them would make everything okay. I thought it made me look cool. But I'm just garbage exactly like them." He squeezed his eyes shut, waiting for judgment. Instead, Jio silently held out a soft folded object. Jio crouched down on one knee. "Your nose is bleeding. Wipe it." Taegu hesitantly took the object. You're giving me this for the blood?" "Yeah," Jio replied simply. But then Taegu realized exactly what he was holding. "Wait. This is a dog pee pad, you jerk." Taegu sat up, forced to use it anyway. "Whatever, I'll use it before I get hit again." Jio suddenly broke the silence. "Earlier you said you didn't have the right to be my friend anymore." A gentle smile replaced the demon's mask. "But it looks like I'm not the only one who still thinks we're friends. So we're good." Taegu looked up, eyes wide with disbelief. His face turned beet red as emotions overflowed. Tears burst forth like a dam breaking. He lunged forward, wrapping Jio in a desperate bear hug. Jio stood stiffly, enduring the bone-crushing embrace. "I'm so sorry, you're too nice." And that wraps up this intense scene from our manhwa recap.